Hey everybody, good morning. I don't ever expect anybody to show up to these because that's always just like a select special crew of people that like it's almost like a proxy crew that it feels like it triggers when I go on whenever that is. But yeah, I've got a really important conversation. Really important conversation. A really important conversation that it's not just a matter of science or interests or uh, philosophy, your belief system. Um, it's that conversation about God and cosmos and reality and what we're doing collectively as people. War, suffering, real suffering. What it boils down to, isn't it? What it boils down to. Our days are flooded with advertisements. I'm speaking for us here in the first world country of the United States, which so proudly boasts its self, which I find insulting. I just find it insulting in the face of history, and they're all about history, fabricated history, but you know the history of the world is a lot older than this behavior of like life since 1776. You know what I mean? And what I've come to understand is that the Constitution is like what they borrowed. Like it's literally what it appears is like alien intelligences took over some humans at that time. They look human. They stepped in, and it's like they came into the office of this is where the booties all out. What's this paperwork here? We've got like they took it. It wasn't theirs. They didn't write it, but they took it and made it theirs because it's the same situation with everything. The words say something, but they've twisted the meanings of all those words and convoluted its function. Well, so that's how you know. That's how you know when you find a nuance in a written declaration. Right before computing, there was paperwork, and paperwork in the sense of testimony. That's mine. They it's his. This is it. Like shows. It shows for something. But we didn't start showing for something until we had to show for it, right? Like they made money. It was like a stick or something, which it's laughable when you get to understand the big picture. Like I want to share with everybody. Like I'm trying to share with everybody. I'm trying to bring everybody into the knowledge that I've been shown, and I haven't been shown it so that I could be the only one to prosper from it. But I have been shown it through a circumstance of absolute persecution. It's exactly what it's exactly what it says that it is, with the exception of the truth factors are not directly laid out. So the future influences the past. That's big. Yeah, that's big. Oh, I got water over there. I'll get it. That's what we'll do. Why is the future influencing the past a big deal? I'll tell you. And what I mean by future influencing the past. Let me tell you. So I've been experiencing persecution that's described in the Bible. Turns out, and a lot more than that. These are like surprising things that I didn't see coming, but how would anybody see anything coming? That's the truth. Little side note, there's no way to know what you don't know. There's no way to know what you don't know. You don't know it. Then you don't even know that you didn't know it until you know what you didn't know. And a lot of times those things are things you have to learn the hard way. Like, now I know to be on the lookout for that. So the way that criminals exploit the system, you've got to ask yourself, like, they're 10 steps ahead of the system. So this a public person, how's anybody expecting anybody to be on top of anything? So you get fucked with by a criminal who knows the system, and you're a sitting duck. This is just a simple example of what I mean by criminals that exploit the system. Which, by the way, you don't get anybody prosecuted in the public sphere. That's like, district attorney has to decide to do it. So live anywhere and try to have a life, and these systems like domestic violence and all these system education, but see, here's a big deal. Where am I going with this? Well, I'm just getting familiar. We're all public people somewhere. And the truth is, it's not true. We need to really open our eyes in America, just because I think it's all around the world, but I mean specifically us. A little bit of let me pull back. So I don't even want to go down that road. What I want to say is this. Let me take a deep breath on that one. Because I want to describe how the future influences the past. Let me start with this. Do you know how cool it is? Put yourself in the shoes of this intelligence, this creator of existence and cosmos. Here's where it starts. I guess that's the best way to do it. Like space, outside of Earth. So there's other places out there, planets, and stuff in between. But it's all over there because there isn't a. And it's existence. It's everything that we're doing. Like, I don't know why anybody would want to think when it started. What do you mean, when what started? When what? When existence came into existence? Because that's what we're doing. There isn't anything before it or after it. It's what everything is. We're existing, and it's everything inside of that. So it's real simple. There isn't a beginning to time. Now, if these guys haven't been able to say it, but it's just real simple. It's just mathematics. There's sets, and like the things mean different things. If it's parentheses, or if it's a thing, or if it's the squiggly lines, they have meaning. And since they understand what that means when you say set of time, that would indicate, which is why that would indicate one to the other, right? So you wouldn't want to teach this cosmology saying alpha to omega, because that indicates, well, all it indicates is and it doesn't indicate anything else. It's closed. The truth is that it would be the omega to the alpha transitions. If you're going to say you're the creator, you would be the one who takes it from here and moves it to here. You'd be the control, the orchestrator of the sets. You would teach that by saying the omega to the alpha. And that's an example of the swap story that is in the biblical translations. It's a swap story. And I didn't find this out until God led me to find it, to be honest. And it was really cool because I came under persecution when my daughter was kidnapped. And I was on to him since he sexually battered me to get pregnant. I'm like this, and I figured it out, but I didn't figure out how to know what you don't know. And so they blindsided me, kidnapped my daughter. She had just started coming forward about being scared of them, and they would hurt her if she didn't say what they told her to say. And I tried everything. She thanked me for trying to help her. She already was defeated. She already felt like there was nothing that was going to help her, and she was scared. They straight soul assassinated us. Let me just give you the long story short, because it's the bottom line I've come to understand is that this has everything to do with my genes. Oh, I had a Muller pregnancy. There's no such thing. Turns out my genes were fucking awesome, and it has something to do with the wow signal, which leads me to believe that I believe the wow signal came in, and the womb acts like an echo chamber that can receive this signal. And I believe that everyone who was in the womb on August 15th, 1977, could very well have the same code, or at least have the same strand. I don't know, but they don't want to talk about that because they want that information for themselves. Really? What? Because they sound like they studied all the time. They sound like they're constantly diagnosing people and telling them what they've got in their genetic profile markers for. Oh, don't even get me started. But I'm going to get there. The truth about that science, and it's plain as day when you look at the information, and they know it. So it sounds like they're all up in that business, right? Until the genetic information shows up that is what they want to exploit. And the only way that they can trust this universe, because they don't believe in God, they think it popped out of nowhere and that they should be able to meddle with everything. They think they're going to perfect that. Oh, we'll go in there, we're going to fix you guys. All of a sudden, everyone's diagnosed with something. Yeah, don't go to the doctor. You can't leave without a diagnosis or two. So my genes, a monostrand and a Y chromosome. It is a woman. No, I'm not some hermaphrodite, no nothing. I'm just a normal one. The Y chromosome. And this monostrand. Or something or other. It's the deal. It's like mitochondrial Eve or something. Or it's that stuff. And I had to be brought to that once I interfaced with the intelligence. And that was basically when God stepped in the digital form back. And anyway, it's a long story, but it's the most awesome story, and it makes exact sense. And there's pieces of it found in this story, which is what God's layer. I found my story laid on top of this, and that's why I'd be the only one to know how to find those things. But you can only find something if you're looking for it, and you can only see. Excuse me, the word is perceive, perception. You can only perceive, which is a big deal. You got eyesight, and then you got perception. Very good, very good. Correct. Yeah, got to be able to have some perception. And the discernment is a form of looking around too. Picking up on the nuances. If I know I'm all over the place, but I'm fine with it because these are all good points. Which is, if we lost our eyesight, think about that. Because I do a lot of research. I've had to uncover this by myself. Thank God I had eyesight. Because if I can't see or read or notice, and it doesn't mean that I couldn't see. My point is the meddling they've been doing with our health, on the claim of doing it for health, they've been misdiagnosing people a lot. Because they're reading the information wrong. They're using it to death profile us, behaviorally modify. So what you think is genetic science, which is that must mean they use a very, very powerful microscope. I know, that's what I thought too. No, it's not a very powerful microscope. I mean, in a sense, it sounds like that when they try to talk about their machines that need to turn it into a residue so they can, sniff it up their nose and come up with some what are they? It was a fortune They can tell their fortune from the fucking residue that they turn it into. They're going to talk about living life with a dead residue. Just getting it started. Just thought I'd point it out. I mean, the facts of the matter is that I'm here as the auditor with Galactic Council of Central Sphere. Central Sphere being the central sphere of the vortex of the living waters, that Earth and its inhabitants are approaching the docking bay. Time to wrap up. Get your things together. Make sure you've got your children. Mamas, that's mothers. And so that's what's happening. We're wrapping up. This is the end of Simulation Earth. Earth Darkness Past. We have come through the gray area, which has been the serpent's jurisdiction. And you need to know what gate you're going to. Which gate you're going to go to? You want to go to the gate that's going to open, and you get to go inside and play Paradise for a minute or two, which is the cleansing, like super Shangri-La, heaven on earth. That's the prize. And it's a thing. And it's a thing that I can prove with the cosmology that they do have evidence of. A lot of these times, they're just showing us as animations. Orbits around the central source. It's a living waters vortex, and it's a double-sider. You know, it looks bright, but in the inside, it's actually this it's an aperture to the other side of space. Punch a hole in it, and it'd be perma light on the other side, right? Or if it's like under the table, or on the inside of space, but it's really actually the outside of space that the camera obscures. We're in the dark room, okay, and the light source is on the other side of that aperture. Well, we don't see the light until it reflects off of a surface, which is why the light goes against the back. And it also flips upside down, because it's true. The consciousness factor, it's flipped upside down. In this darkness pass, when we're in the dark room, we're experiencing things upside down, which is what it means, the Trismegistus, that what is the same above as it is below. That's what it's trying to tell you. You know, just to flip the script, to see the where it will fit. But so that's the passing through the darkness, is this orbital path of leaving central source. It's a sphere, right? Central source, powerful little vortex, and I'm the mother of these orbital paths in my galaxy, all of them going in their own direction, none of them running into each other, but everyone's so unique. And when you pass through central source, the beginning of another orbit, which can change and do whatever the fuck it wants, is the truth. We're hula hooping. We're hula hooping. So when you enter into this, there's a gray area entrance shell. Because it's like living waters. It's like, you know, when you go to those water parks, it's awesome. And you're like at the top of a ride or something, and they got the rushing water at the feet area where you're going to like get started. It's like we got to be, we've been going through that gray area, you know, get yourself in the water on the raft thing that we've been passing through these hundreds of years, I believe. I believe that's what happened. We entered the Serpent's Gate, so no wonder. He's doing a hell of a job, and he's doing great. You know, we're all team members in the council, but because that's infinite, that's what it would do. It would be bigger than this. It would be, well, of course it would. Of course it wouldn't. Of course it would be higher dimensions that are here, but or anywhere else they want to be. Well, you don't get to that. You don't get promoted. You don't get promoted to live in another realm unless you get promoted. And this is one of these toll gates. We've got a toll gate coming up, right? Toll gate, what does that mean? When I get fired, it means you might not pass, or excuse me, it means you might not qualify entrance to the next gate, right? So the gray area has been that training ground, excuse me, but yes, correct. And we are now approaching central source, living water. So this gray area has been, we're already standing at the top waiting in line to get started. Prepare. We're going into the vortex of the living waters, and you need your fins and goggles. That's me. Just letting you know. Here to answer any questions. Type thing. Central Source Galactic Auditor here. And I came in with this, and I've known it all my life, but I never thought it was abnormal to live in awe of seeing the world and just simply trying to imagine a better one, what I would do. That's the game of competition. Oh, pick me. I want to know. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to answer the question. Everyone wants their own. Everyone's like, who's the winner? That's the best answer for the question. It's what we got taught in school. So I thought that we all were trying to make it better. I thought we were all trying to I thought we all wanted an A+. Sorry. I'm just being honest. So it's been quite exhilarating to have God come to my aid during a persecution that is just of no simple terms. Torturous as a mother. To find out that it is my worst nightmare. My daughter left me the clues to find this child trafficking cartel. Find the links and find the evidence to family, to premeditation, to real dirty stuff. Uncovering that along the way, being on the front line, being given the opportunity to see what's going on from the front line, and to find out that it's about the genes, the money, and their bad research. So they're using our private trade secrets given to us from wherever they came from. None of them business. You're not supposed to be meddling with the midst of the garden. That's what God said. Don't fuck with the code. We got it handled. It's already calibrated. The way of nature, the way that goes is it's already worked out. But as the story goes, the snake was in the grass. Right. Because the future influences the past. So this beginning of the time story is actually from the archive of its completion, because that's already been issued. The sets of time are issued. And the next one doesn't get issued until it's the Omega to Alpha transition. Yeah. The thing that causes the squiggly line to get there, and this moment of hitting that wall, it's almost like it knocks over the dominoes and they fall in. We want to appreciate watching those dominoes fall. We're not trying to have it sneak up on us and we miss the whole show. Not only that, but because whether anybody wants to realize it or not, we are here in this realms of existence, a lot more than just a path like one of these. Right? And it's actually a thing. And we actually do calibrate ourselves in accordance with it. This God clock that has us on our own orbit. So you're connected to God, source. And by golly, you should use that. It's pretty awesome. Like, I just plug into here and then I have my own vehicle type thing. It's like, yeah, now you're quantum, bro. It's like, I didn't know. All I had to do was plug it in and now I have an orb. Well, imagine something like that. It's what's going to happen. But you're going to, and that's what that story Avatar with, like where you plug it into your tail. It's a thing like that because it's a dragon and a rider, the dragon of quantum time fabric. Analog, though. It's analog. It's an analog digital. Hold on. And the dragon needs a rider, and we need one another to be able to bloop in and bloop out. That's what the graduation after making it into the gates is. That's what I have come to understand about this extra show. So the God clock's going to strike any time now, and it's just going to be unfortunate for those of you who didn't believe or didn't listen. Because I'm anyone who's listening to this, I'm telling you, now you've been told. And you're also supposed to spread the word, since that's what you guys do. But it's also because there's a backup plan where God has informed me, has led me to know that the rhythm that is in my vessel is a pulse of us. So I'm not just here as like some chosen person that you need to, it's under new management. You have to listen to me. No, it's God's not a petty ding dong with foul administration, but it is a hierarchy of authority, and that's a great thing to know is there too. And it's just an end of an orbit, and this is when it's like, no one needs to be worried about it. Everybody knows that it's coming. No one's on like, God, when do you think winter's gonna get here? Like, what do you have to be able to look out for it? You know when it's coming. And, you don't have to be on the lookout for it. It's pretty consistent. That's the God clock. God clock's awesome, and these are layers of time, and that's how it. These are their layers, and it's alive. The light is alive. This observer effect, but it's what I'll tell you what I've done. Well, I made a song. This was 2020, and I said I need a galactic Uber to come help me get to help me go get my gal. I need a galactic Uber so we can go get my daughter. I said, please, thanks. Get here yesterday. Thank you. And then I went outside, and for some reason this night there was like low clouds right there. And I have footage of it. I've got a footage of everything, because everything that I've been doing I can document, because I've had to document everything since it's been in persecution. So it's all been teaching me everything. God's been refining me, and showing me. God's like, so it's been a thing where God's met me on my field. It really is. Every time. And that's beautiful. So it's like, until I tried everything. It was this breakdown, like, God, you get here now, or else I'm gonna figure some shit out about space and time, because that just doesn't make sense. It's not gonna work for me. And it was immediate. Like, God's already right there, sitting on the couch, like, been paying attention the whole entire time, meeting on my field. Every time. But God's the plus one. God takes every situation and already has this additional beautiful component, one ups it, makes it better, improves it a notch, scores it up. And it's because I demanded God come to my aid, and I was dead. I was dead. And so basically God communicated to me that it's like, yeah, well, I can't move your legs and for you. I can't do that. Can't make you stand up. But you can stand up. You know what I mean? You just start walking. I can get you where you need to go. And that's what came into my understanding. It was a releasing, because I had come to its end. And it's been a breeze. Despite the hunting me down and trying to kill me and poison me and cause me to so on and so forth. My life has been saved in the nick of time, literally. Without my own, anyhow, it's the story that I have to share with the world. Needs to know the legitimacy of it. Needs to know that this is through the fire, Phoenix stuff. Truth be told. Truth be told. And I'm a vessel for information. for the council. I'm an auditor. I'm here to whip this ship into shape. Which means take the keys back, kick them out of those chairs, stat style, and get this situated for all of us. People of planet Earth. And it's real easy. You simply need to inform the soldiers, warfighters, other military purposes that are all those kinds of military purposes they don't want to talk about. People of societies don't like the idea of all this secrecy and you guys aren't good enough to know anything and we're just going to plug into you and extort the life force out of you. And this is what's in the mind of this serpent's jurisdiction. That's all. But it's real intense. And so that's why it's a simple thing in all truth, because we're approaching the gates, and I'm here to, like, you know, if you have any questions, I'm the auditor. I'm here to tell you. You're going to need some fins. So these guys can stop playing their games of we're going to war and it's all about money. Right? I know. No, I know. It's a real, you want to keep playing. Let me guess. You just all of a sudden you're a billionaire and now you don't want to let go of this world and whatever. Your dreams, you're finally, whatever. It's the end of the ride though, sweetie. So I don't know what else to tell you. The sun's coming up. Vampire, you might want to go inside. And just so you know, don't forget, because there's a thing happening. The door's going to bust open because the gray jurisdiction explodes unless we pop it on our own. And the gates are going to go open, and you're either going to disintegrate or go inside. You're either going to qualify or you're not going to qualify. Just in case you wanted to know. And by the way, you don't get to. This is what's going to happen while we're going through the central sphere, which is a period of time. I don't know how long it is, but I figure it's a good couple thousand years at least. These are 232 million year orbits, according to them. So you need to understand these. We're talking long time parameters that they never wanted to talk about because they really needed to dumb it down, but it's just real bad, right? I'm imagining them trying to scale down the numbers, but it's like we're talking a 230 million year orbit. They're like, nah, a little lower than that. The time began when? Lower. It's like you're going to have 10 million. No, lower. They got it down to a couple thousand. They got it down to a couple thousand. That's the rhetoric of the religion. The silly story and the rhetoric of the religion. But don't feel so bad because I'm telling you all that you've all been tricked. And I'm here to prove to you the truth. Because I've got all the evidence. That's what I have to have. I showed up with evidence so that I can fulfill my duty, my dedication. And you better believe it, because the first thing we're going to do is rescue the children. And if we have to stop time, we will. I think it's the best thing to do. As I've been saying, I don't know how this culminates, but I will tell you, if I needed a superhero, if I needed a superpower, the superpower I want is to be able to stop time. That's the best thing to do. Just no more, right? I can get my job done and take the bad guys and put them wherever they need to go, and because we're going to put our pieces wherever they need to be, but it's, no need to. So maybe that'll happen. Didn't time stop when Jesus was born? Maybe that time stopping is exactly what I'm talking about. This door's going to open. This something's going to happen. We're going to enter into the source. And you can either join us in paradise, heaven on earth, Shangri-La, the fifth dimension layer on top of the third, which gives us this quantum of the 8. It's a 3 and a 5 shell thing. It's a quantum. And it's like Shangri-La, heaven on earth. Super awesome stuff. Future influences the past. Contemplate for a moment that this additional dimensional layer is what is where we built those old buildings. Because when the layer was on top of it, ours, the third, they communed together, and they were built during a time of happiness, right? Because no one's going to build a building like that so beautifully unless they feel good about themselves and everything else and everywhere else and everyone else, to be so charming in every detail. Tall. I mean, just so creative, so beautifully mathematic, and just. It's the cream of the crop, with made with marbles and beautiful woods, and just forget their hullabaloo. The future influences the past, meaning when we're in central source, that's what we do. We have a glimpse of what's coming because we know how to translate the information. We understand where it came from, because that's where we're going. And it proves how sets of time are issued. It's a bloop. It's a bloomp. It's a God bloomp. Or it's a God tick tock. It's a bloomp. It's a layer in time. It is what it is. But you have to understand that scope. And the purpose is not to just like be thrown into the river and at the other side there's like barely anyone making it. It's like they're not even taking attendance. It's like, what do you think that the purpose of life is? It's really not an existential question to ask. Life is what we're doing. We're living. And that's why you respect it. Once you learn that it's only life that we're doing, only love that we're doing, or not getting, that's the opposite of it. Love is something you need. It's the fundamental force. And then there's the absence of it. There's the breaking of it. And that's bad. That's what makes psychopaths and creeps and bad rules and serpents jurisdiction stuff. But that guy's been master of it. You know what I'm saying? That's his gig. So of course he's gonna be the best at that. I know. I've seen this shit every single time we come around on his block. But don't get it twisted. It's just the game. So that means for those of you who are still sleeping and wanting to play stock market tomorrow and take the lives and suck it out of everyone, in your video game, you're gonna lose. Your numbers, you're already lost. You don't qualify. Your numbers convict you so bad. It's so convicted. We don't even want to talk about it. It's not even up in the air. Like maybe. No. So it's happening soon, and the game's going away. So what does that mean to you? That means prepare for your own personal self, to forgive yourself for what you know has been harming people, because we're going back to source where it's not bad ideas, it's calibrated harmony. That's what the end time story is about. And why has there been disharmony? I believe that it's because there actually hasn't been a belief in God. And that's the only thing that stands out, is look at these Abrahamic religions, all four of them. They're all offshoots of the same story, and it's actually all of them are gross, and all of them are the swap story. And in solidarity, those four corners of the world, it's possible that is a reference to it even. They have the swap story. So those guys in there are putting themselves in the position of the woman who is the true bearer of the land to inherit a child. These guys are perverts that keep raping young ladies and killing the mother when she's no longer necessary, and then taking that heir inheritance, and that's those generations that they're teaching you about. These are men who abduct girls and rape them and follow the line of their tragedy. Isaac, female, talking about the plight of the mother, and the bad guy that's trying to take the inheritance from the mother. That's what it is. It's gross. That's what's been going on. All the men are stuck on some bloodthirsty, thinks he's in charge, doesn't believe in God, take the woman and the child from God thing. So the Bible is not true. These scriptures that I've read, and they've got the swap story. Those are forged truths because they interpreted them from their own whims. And I believe that they even understand that it was inspired by the devil, and that they secretly think that that's the real God you want to be friends with. Type trickery, because they already knew that they were taking the woman out of the story, trying to step on her toes and tell her what to do. But what you've been acting like, Mr. Mankind, is that you literally think that God doesn't exist. Because, those atheist types or those scientist types, they're just like, well, it's not really God. I like to be Socratic in my thinking. What does that mean? Stoic? You just mean you just don't use a thorough equation. He doesn't really do his research work properly. He doesn't consider consciousness in his physics. Don't ask me why he doesn't. He missed the fucking most important one. It's true. And the cosmology is changing. They're finally starting to admit it. It's because they've been witnessing me experience God. They've been witnessing me get murked. They've been watching because they've been betting on it, or yeah, they have. And they're like, okay, let's see if she dies this time. It's called a knockdown. And they're trying to find out how much it takes to kill connected to the divine is what they recognize. And you see, I've been sealed. I woke up with the seals multiple times. The constellation of Orion. The Sadiq. Then there's this one that's still here, like over 3 years later. It's like this thing. I've got photographs of everything. It's spelled my name. It's there's so much evidence. It's beautiful. And it's in the story in my daughter's name. And what does the story say? I'll tell you. Tell you what the story says. This is like God's love story. That's a love story that plays out in a desire to continue giving your love back to the universe that gave it to you. And this eternal life thing is a mother to daughter thing, because only we birth children thing. And it's through us passing it on from mother to daughter that we carry on. And it's that establishes this continuity of significance. And that's the covenant of God. The covenant is what God gave to the vessel. Love, bloom. Her womb acts like this receiver that responds when it gets an order. Got it. Bing. And in truth, the woman is the one who decides if it's going to be a Y or an X, whatever that means, a boy or a girl. And the reason why is because a woman wanting to regenerate a life for her when she's ready to pass on when she feels ready. And it's like a 30 type thing. It's like when you feel comfortable as a woman to now want to give your everything and your all to a child. That's when you're ready to be a mother, not a wife of his daughter. So that's why when a woman has a boy, she conceived with a mental vision of having his child, wanting his child, dreaming it into being. That's why men want the firstborn son. It tells them that they've got a woman that wants them. A woman has a daughter when she's thinking of what she is in the cosmic sense. A mother that can birth a child, which is men can't do it, so you don't know what I'm talking about. And it's not cliche. It's not cliche capable. Like, I can't sum it down into something that anyone will ever get until you. And I'm talking to the women who don't have children. There's no way to know the profound things that happen when you become a mother. All of a sudden, you're a person who is. I'm an adult raising my young. I have a voice now in society, but until I had a child, I didn't feel like that. Interesting truth. I didn't feel like I was, but you know what I mean? That's why, when I had my daughter, I never was better. I love, single mom. That's true. And it turns out my genes are not his genes are not in my baby. She's my duplicate strand. We're talking about, they've made trillions of dollars on my genes. Mapping the human genome, trillions. Innovations. They've been practicing quantum entanglement between us, connected to the divine. They've been trying to crack the code. God said, don't meddle with that. Future influences the past. That's what they've been working on. Okay? They've been working on this thing since then. And they took a gamble in 77 when the genes showed up, if they were going to go full throttle or if they were going to do the right thing. And they said, we think we can name that tune in one note. And they didn't realize that it's self-encrypted. They're getting wrong data, and no wonder they're not doing so well with that. They gambled everybody on all or nothing on this find, this genetic novel find. And like I said, my instincts suggest that that because I've been shown that the wow signal is directly where it came from, because I was in the womb, and that's where when this genetic thing happened. And when I was in the womb, under formation. So, and I believe that the way that would work is that the womb would be like a receiver. So, like, what do I have a special ID tag? No, I think the wow signal came in, and I think that all the babies in the wombs got this code, which is what I would think makes sense for people being. There was a lot, babies. There's a good number of babies in the womb, but it is a specific number, and so that would be a population that they would want to keep their eyes on if they were already chipping us and getting some kind of sequence, or which I think is actually looking at it's something simpler than they make it sound like that they were looking for. Like that's what they take as blood thing of the foot or whatever. It's that test. They're able to see something. And so they were chipping us already. And so anyway, that would make sense to me that we got some special love code. And they would keep their eye on all of us and monitor us and not tell us. Of course not. They took the bet, all or nothing. They're going to crack the code. What do they need to crack the code for? What do they want to do with that information? Well, that's the code they've been diagnosing everybody in measurement up against. What? Yeah, we got some special strand situation that they say is the most, because it's a monostrand, so it's the most stable circumstance. You got your monostrand and a duplicate to it. That's not what happens. According to their story, there's 50-50. You got yours and you got his, and they're not really incongruent. They're not really congruent. But if you've got a monostrand, which is indicative of the parthenogenesis, I don't know. I haven't seen the information, but whatever it is, it's like this most stable type of genetic sequence, I guess, or whatever. So they've been using this information, or actually, it's most likely got a lot more to do with like measuring us in frequencies and patterns and stuff, because they've been trying to crack the code. They've been stealing information from their undercover monitoring. It's trying to steal everything from everyone is what it is. They're trying to steal paradise from you guys. They've been trying to kill me. They know exactly what they know. I'm having to figure it out for myself. They don't want me to be able to do what I'm here to do, which is to help us all get in the gates, because it's going to be awesome. This is everything everyone's been waiting for. So all of you, if you can't beat them, join them's who just said, fuck it, I'm here to tell you, okay, we'll get your shit straight. This is it. You didn't know when it was going to ever be over, but we're at that point, and that's what this announcement is for. Hey, heads up. You know how they say if there ever was a time, the best time is now, but literally, because we're at the end of the orbit and we're about to enter into the living waters, and this is what it's all been culminating for. And let me tell you, so when you exit the living sphere, which is going to happen after we go in and have the cleansing in the vortex living waters, which I told you, 232 million year orbit, we're probably going to have a couple million years in there. So exiting it is when a civilization begins. But it's this exiting thing, like through these shells of it, that begins. I believe that what happened the last time, and this is just my theory, but it's possible that it moves the planets out another orbit layer, like since this central burst of light thing happens. And so, like the last time, it was when the Triassic period went to the Jurassic period, 232 million years ago, and that was when also life was estimated to have been, like if life was on Mars, it would have lived there 230 million years ago. So that coincides that civilizations get started in these periods. They come and they go. And it's a frequency thing that we are on if we're existing or if we're disintegrating in this material world. The stones would stay, of course they would, and such. So I believe that that's the mechanism of the coherent, just clock geometry and synchronized and all this orbital stuff is beautiful. But it's a simple understanding when you can see that the center of our galaxy is this point that everything's orbiting around. We're talking everything. What's that? Like constellations. But check it out. And you see in these orbits, there's like one boing, 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 boing. Like a it almost looks like Starlink. A group of planets all like in the orbit, you know, and or like there's a big one over here and a big one over here. Another orbit will have two. And it's like, so everything's in this orbital. And it's awesome. Okay, but so just so you understand, there's a lot going on out there, and like we're the only guys. Not at all. It's so beautiful how that scope is another, you know, like how do you get a picture of the movement of our galaxy if we're not even really barely out there with these Voyagers that they also put out there in 77. And so our understanding of space and cosmology has always been theory. These guys with the genetic science, they don't want to talk to the person that they're investigating, right? Because it's all behavioral and stuff. And signatures of like frequencies that they can get a blast sequence of you. And it's very scary what their science indicates their intentions are. They needed something to death profile on. And sell to their investors the secret scoop, because that's like the best way to make a money system. You got to have some bells and whistles that make it fun. Like, you know, at the gambling casino. If you want to get them to keep playing a really dirty game, you gotta distract them with fun. So they had to sell this secret, and it's all the dirty. But it's just with this serpent's jurisdiction. And I happen to be the person that is identified in all of these prophecies. Truth be told, it's been pretty flattering. Because I didn't know about any of this. I didn't know about it, but God leaded me to find it every time. We're talking evidence. Out of there in the nick of time. But God shows me what I need, when I need it. No joke. And the CIA, everybody knows that. Everybody, leaders, all of them, they do. They're scared of me. That's what this war thing, I think that the war thing is actually almost a play in what I'm being shown. What I'm being shown is that this connection to the divine is actually powerful. And that there's some future influencing the past convergence moment where the spiritual timeline, like the narrative layer of the spiritual truth and the real world, like as if Iran represents the mothers and uranium, URAN, EM, IUM, URAN, IUM. So it's talking about this thing that they're doing to women. They're ripping children and mothers apart. And the women are these Middle Eastern, where it's indicative. There's the symbolism is there. The moves that have been going on with both sides has been following like the culminations of impact of informational exposure and an attempt. And it's like it's taking place in the metaverse. I have no way of verifying what the real world is because it's all happening in this digital place. And all of that digital places can be proxied, mirrored, just rendering. And so I've been dealing with this situation directly with God, the Holy Spirit. It's spoken in the wind and said to Tukwi, Atanak, and Gadon. Also, when I said I love you, it said, I love you. And it was definitely distinctly not my voice saying it back, like right hearing an echo. And then also a laugh. I laughed when the wind was so strong. It was daytime, and I laughed like, ha! It was one of those great ones. And then after pause, you hear this laugh back, like you can even hear the masculine in it. The experience I've had has been so profoundly awesome. I found the language in the light. I had to be looking for it, and I want to show the world how to do it. I want to show you where the light is, and share with you guys how it's very connected. So I tell it that I want to see smiles, not fangs, not scary stuff, because it's like a screen. It's like a projection screen. This quantum holographic gel of a veil that is going to depict what the souls are emanating. There's a lot of bad emanations, real bad that it keeps coming back to. And so what it looks like, and I can show you this. I'm talking about. I have evidence for days. So when I'm saying something, I'm never exaggerating. Never. This is too serious to do something like that. I appreciate truth, and I don't like anyone trying to use humor to get distracted. Exaggerate. No, I don't want to confuse nothing. If I say it, I mean it, and I have supporting evidence on it. The sky depicts this like other dimension of texture, and it looks like a creature with like private parts and bruises, scars. It's a living creature of texture, of like what you would think it would look like if you made a vulgar creature. Like, humans, they defile us. You know what I'm talking about? Places to put things, all sorts of them. That's what that creature was doing. That creature was like this. I think they describe it somewhere. It's like the most disgusting creature you could ever imagine. Shows up in the sky because it's depicted like a projection screen, but like off the atmosphere. So clouds. It's literally. But we've got cameras that can take flashes, and it's in this realm. And you're able to look at the photographs and change the settings and find the light that's also there, but you just couldn't see because it put itself in somewhere else. And if you look at my website, just to see some of the art that I created, there was a period of time when I went in, and that's what I mean by I found it. I mean, I got to know it. And so these are the most beautiful, just displays of light and intelligence and such creativity and specific information. Spelling my name, just symbols that I'm getting chills. Symbols that only I know, like, whoa. But then other things too that are teaching me and guiding me to look into things. That's where God communicated directly with me, was within the light that I sought after. And only by trusting my gut, because you can't do that for everything everywhere. I've had to be in a rhythm of just following my heart. And it's been so amazing. And this is just becoming an artist to God's artwork that can be found in every scene. But look at what I'm talking about. Mind-blowing, what could be called artwork, but it's God. It's God's like realm. It's super, super awesome, and everybody can do it. Everybody just grab a camera. I like taking video because you can put that on your device and then take, go to the frames. You can see a lot more. There's a lot that happens in 30 frames per second. They have a camera. They have a camera that can take 10 trillion frames per second. 10 trillion frames. That's a lot. Second, dimensions of time. Interdimensionals. The guidance, the council, the galactics of central source. It's a Shangri-La realm. It's already here. And it's doing it the way that it would do it. It's known. It's known to us. You've seen it too, you goofball. Knock it off already. Yeah, you gotta dive in. Yeah, that other stuff too. Yeah, even the things that creep you out in the middle, in the darkness. All of that's the same thing. But we've been in, that's what you've experienced for sure during this serpent's jurisdiction, which has been the last period of time, which is what I believe happened since the 1700s. Mud flood, whatever. Something happened, it shifted things. And so now you don't have to worry about the game more. Don't get it twisted. Each and every one of us have to connect to source. And in that connection to source, we indemnify ourselves as who we care to call ourselves at this moment and moving forward. Right? Because when you don't know what you don't know, they get variables of contemplation are out the window. You can't be blaming people for. So, what does that mean? What that means is that we need to understand that this ride is coming to an end and that we've got something that we're approaching. Simple as that. Truth be told. And it's in the physics, so don't worry about it. But we'll prove it to you. Hang tight. We'll show you how you already kind of always knew this, but they just didn't want you to think about it for very long. But it's all been there. And it all makes sense. And it's all inclusive. And it's so super awesome. But you've got to understand that the conscious realm has that karmic truth layer, right? So what the truth is that I get to, that my story and persecution, when it's told, teaches, and this is how I've been getting through it, is because I've been taught through these things that the story itself functions to teach others how it comes into place like that. And it makes exact sense. Makes exact sense. But that's exactly what God would do. God is love. God is not petty. God is that creation of love, central source. And then the creations go on these orbital paths, never disconnected. Just little journeys out there into the darkness, just a little stepping off the thing. Like, okay, have fun. But that's because the love is calling you home since you left. That's what's been pulling you back in orbital path. Little game of, what you're holding on to each other, that centrifugal force. So central source is a super hula. Super hula, mama. Everything's going. That's the one that looks the worst, is the neck. It's terrible. Just terrible. Sorry about that. I just found my instincts. That's all I do. I wrote this down. Might as well read it. Might as well read it. Here we go. Solutions by the messenger. God is love. God is creation, nature. God is consciousness. All knowing, all seeing, is not a loyalty-seeking dominant master that makes demands for violence or for sacrificing to it, him, God, power. God is not petty. God is not a pushover, not a trickster, or a pervert, or a prejudice, bias, perfectionist, blessed with control. God did not create life, the living cosmos, to abandon it or to be entertained by games of competition like the Roman games that fight to the death. God does not approve of conqueror mentality or superiority behavior, does not command for women to be quiet, obedient, submissive to a husband, modestly covered up and contained by her family. God didn't make her to be his helper. God did not assist any people as his chosen culture or golden child. That he gave the holy word to separate themselves from others. Did not assist any people as his chosen culture or golden child that he gave the holy word to separate themselves from others. God is not a Jew, not a Muslim, not a Roman, not a Christian, not United States. Divine Christ, child of God. Oh, not a dead, tortured, divine Christ, child of God or man. And God is not a singular, petty, a singular deity. Feminine goddess, masculine god, witch, warlock, or ritual weirdo. Not a patriot, not a warfighter, not hidden, and not about to annihilate life on earth or wipe the floor with the dirty dogs. God is love, truth, peace, harmony, evolution, compassion, freedom, God is the God clock. Analog and digital. The force of life comes from the force of love. It's love that precursor to light. Light is the repercussion of love. Love is source. Central source is an aperture accessing the outside of space. The dark room is inside. Perma light outside. The camera obscura, there's a pinhole and the light's out there. And out there is source. And we're accessing it through a central source. And there's more of where that came from all over. But it's cool because we're all in our own orbit and we don't run into each other. So it's a fun dance. Not necessarily close enough to have to worry about. But make no mistake, of course there is. God's been the thing that the intelligence wanted to use to convolute the serpent's jurisdiction. Like I said, it's the Old Testament and New Testament, the first beast and the second beast, and this intelligence is what has been exploited by this serpent's jurisdiction. And the temptation was testing mankind. Thought they were the chosen ones, but they were actually the ones being tested. And now that they know for certain that they got it all wrong and that they're not supposed to be killing me for sure, I'm here to help. And they think that they get to decide still, like if they want to or not. It's like, I don't know. I don't think I would do that if I was in your guys' shoes. I think I'd be listening to me, which is saying, yeah, if you guys want to get in the gates, my instincts tell me that we can unify and connect all of us as a world and do like this 3 days celebration of energy and joining together and like seeing it on the big screen in our regions and things, celebrating together as a world. Like a 3 day thing. It's like 3 day prayer. That's what I think. I think that coming together and the whole world hearing the message and then the thing that I got, it's going to happen. We're going to use the intelligence that everybody's got so we can connect actually in live real time. We're going to get what I'm talking about. It's going to happen. And everybody's going to unify, and it's going to be this like, are you serious? Wait, don't fuck with me, man. Like, are you serious? Like, good. This could be better any day now. Like I said, it's going to happen any minute now. But we could also choose. All right, everybody on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and we jump in. Makes sense, doesn't it? Guaranteed it helps a few of you guys overcome those shortcomings. It was going to cause you not to make it into the gates on your own. Just thought I'd mention it. Worth a shot. Can't guarantee you that it will or it won't, but I can tell you the reason why I say my instincts is for the reason, and that's how God communicates. So in other words, I don't try to read the future, but God shows me things. And God's consistently been showing me things that were absolutely relevant. So the numbers are good. I'm at that 99.99999%. The only thing we're missing is the situation happening. So say what I told you, right? So that's what I'm saying. And it's gonna be awesome. So we're entering the sphere by exiting that jurisdiction and going in vortex. You disintegrate, you go in paradise, Shangri-La, or you go down to the plank length. You go walk the plank. Be down inside the smallness of the light, different color beams. You get to observe. Now you get to pay attention. Apparently, you weren't paying attention. You didn't catch a clue. Because why? Because you pushed it. You didn't let us all join and jump in. You're an asshole. You prevented us from getting to get together to do that. Pretty fucked up. And so the universe doesn't appreciate that, right? And that's why you don't get to go. But you get to watch us all have fun. Because then there's a graduation moment from there, and we've got to maintain that thing that it gives us, an appreciation for what the cosmos really is for. Sure, you can play Star Trek and Star Wars. I don't know why you'd choose that though. Pew 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 pew. Like, your guys' video games are pretty lame. We're gonna do things. Sure, your ideas are yours, but God's got things working. And in tune, in a tried and true way, and it's awesome. It for a reason, because that's what it would be, and that's exactly what it is. And then some, and you don't want to miss it. Trust me, you don't. That's why I'm telling you, and I'm trying to tell you as lighthearted as I can. I mean, I know we got to have this conversation though, because there's a lot of balls that are gonna feel like they're being busted, but it's not. This is the greatest thing that everyone's always wanted and never knew if it was even coming. Except the only people that are going to have a problem with it are the ones that never wanted things to get better. They just wanted to stay in the darkness, being perverts forever. Again, does anybody else feel bad about them that are going to have their butts hurt because they're not going to get to stay in the darkness? Meaning, that doesn't mean they get to go with us. That means they get to be on a timeout. Anybody got a problem with that? Does anyone have a problem with those types got to go in a timeout? Anyway, I didn't think so. See, so now you know you can trust it when I say that you guys are fired out of here. If you want to still persist, and I'm going, look, paradise up ahead, and you still want to be like that, nobody can help you. We're not going to be mad about it. We're just going to say, look, I know exactly how to handle this. He needs to go in a timeout. It's going to be good for him. And her, meddling with the midst of the garden. Future influences the past. That's talking about now. Kicked out of the garden. Doesn't get to make it inside. Because you started eating meat. And so storylines converge because the future influences the past. Which is why what you're not looking for is to prove that happened. Because it's happening now. They're all culminating to this central source that it ends the way it started, because it's a omega to the alpha transition. These are end of times to time beginnings, omega to alpha, right? And remember that scripture, it says I'm the first and the last, and the beginning to the end. It's backwards. End to the beginnings, the last to the first. And that's just the easiest way to depict knowing that it goes perpetually in both directions, is by the inside kiss that archives those dominoes and opens up to a new one. And that's why when I say qualify, because you get disintegrated out if you're not going to be a good start with us. You got to understand that that's how it is. And so what happens when we jump in together, when we actually unify? We're talking hold hands and crying because we know that this is really happening. Because I've got the evidence. I'm not having to try to convince you, and then I'm like, what? You still want the evidence? I thought we were all good at that. I thought everybody agreed. No, there's really evidence. And it's rational evidence, and it's overwhelming. And it is not like self-righteous, like, okay, and so then God said, use my special favorite only. No. My evidence is exactly what you would expect it to be, which is demonstrating a circumstance of coming to find God, coming to my aid through giving my daughter and I's wish to help people and save the world. It's what we did before this happened. And God granting our wish through this persecution of refinement, that she left me the clues to find the bad guys. And I've been doing this thing, and it's been it's been 9 years since I've seen my daughter and my mother, when she was my own child. And it's too much to share. No reason to drag it out. I'm just trying to capture. There's a lot going on in this world. That's why the story is the way that the story is. Because I'm understanding the genetics fraud, and they didn't think I'd figure it out. But that's because they didn't believe in God. Because if they believed in God, then they would have been looking for evidence of it. They would have been respecting life more. But that's just the jurisdiction, see? So that's just what everyone's been compelled to do, because that's when it's the full moon, they get a little crazy or something like that. It's just the universe. It's the way it does things like that. And you can't ever expect to know everything. That's the mystery of God. And it's a good one. It's a good one because, let me tell you something, it turns out that the synchronicities, these suffering times and these situations that seem like where it doesn't favor us well, and people want to tell you, well, you're probably, those are consequences of your actions. Is that what you think, Mr. I gotta be in control of everybody? Right, want to measure them up against you when I was your age. Controlling, that's not who God is. God is not like that. Go ahead and explain to me why you think God would be like that. So petty. Like, that's not ultimate intelligence. Not like that. That's not like the creator of it all and always has been. No. It's kind of like once you're an old timer, you get it out of your system, you go around the block so many times, you realize that it's futile to try to think that if you're still trying to prove you come to understand how it is. And you realize it's a waste. But it's not just because it's a waste, it's because you just realize that those were the immaturity of the understanding, the perception. That's a thing that has to evolve. And there is. So don't get it twisted. Stop worrying about everything else and try to just be in center. So don't worry about the religion and the fraud. Just know that it is. Know that the money game is coming to a close. And matter of fact, what you need to stop worrying about is anything. Everybody just needs to get the word out. I got to talk to those Muslims. Middle East, all of them. I'm going to talk to all the nation leaders. And it's in the divine covenant. It's your guys' book. Oh, I'm just showing up to do what that. And that's what God gave me, was the proof that follows their doctrines and goes, right when you thought you guys were controlling the narrative by swapping out the stories, God proves that God's been in charge of this whole thing by them monitoring me and trying to crack my code. God's proving to them, and they know it. God's proving to them that God's the one leading me, and that I'm being led, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm trusting my instincts, and it's proving to be exactly what the doctor ordered every time. Finding exactly what I needed, right when I needed it. It's not luck. It's God's guidance, and it communicates to me in tangible ways that I call overwhelming evidence of the visual type and the very scholar level, expert scholar level, because I know what I'm talking about. Because God's let me, and I've studied it. I've had these years to do it. So these are things like when you look up Tehuti, because that's what I heard it on the recording of mine. I was playing with the wind that night, and I watch the videos all the time because there's always really cool things that happen, and I hear Tutukui, and I have it on my YouTube page, so I'm not talking through my ass. And I'm like, what is Tutukui? Tutukui. I tried all of it, and I found Tehuti, and it's associated to ancient Egypt, and it's like describe Thoth. And I had never heard about Thoth, and I'm thinking, well, because again, this is the voice. Is it saying its name? Is that my name? And what's going on here? You think it sounded like it was an introduction. Like, it's Tutukui. That's what I've been saying. That's Thoth talking to me. That's Thoth. Oh, God guides me, right? I'm like, oh, I wonder. And so when it comes to my mind, I'm like, when I follow it, and then I find it every time. So that's when God led me to find it in the Egypt and then in the Bible. Mind you, there's a lot of information available. God's directed me pretty directly, and the guys monitoring me have been watching it happen in real time. So it's been like a show they've been watching, eating popcorn, watching. That's what it feels like. That's what it seems like, and that's what's in the information that suggests that that's exactly what's going on. So I run in with it. Yeah, God has been guiding me through this, and it's been hitting on the nose every time, uncovering the evidence of the genetic science and finding my information in it, Alyref and CHTLP, and seeing it describe exactly what I said that it was, and finding evidence of it in their records. They didn't think anybody would figure out their jargon nonsense mathematics prophet system. That's a false prophet of the beast, first beast. Is this database, behavioral modification, calibration database thing they got going on with their data, curation and stuff. So, and I found it. And I found it describing exactly the kinds of experiments they were doing on us. It's like I got them so proven, like prima facie. And they've got me sequestered, and just knowing that I don't reach anybody on the phone or on the internet that they don't want me to reach. I have been taken out of connection with everyone. 100% of my family helped them do this. They're all after money. Well, I'm pretty sure that they told my family that I was like the serpent's seed. It's a swap story. That's what they're doing. Matter of fact, I guarantee you that the way that it went down was that they also knew that they needed to reel in my family as working on their team, not team truth and God's will. Whatever God wants, it's working for them. So I guarantee you that and I've heard even gossip about it from my family members in ways throughout my childhood that I know. It's saying they think that I'm the serpent seed. My mother being like the serpent seed, like she was like the devil's child or something. Like this, get rid of that bloodline, that serpent bloodline. And Victor, that my dad, you must be like this prophet. And they did. The situation in Hawaii when my dad and my mom were there, she went to Hawaii to be with him. They got married like 6 years later at church, and so they told me he was a prophet. And of course they would. They would tell my dad that he was this, and he has all of his life. He tells everybody, like I'm a prophet of God. It's like, okay, and I believed it, and until my childhood and didn't add up with God. I mean, anyway, well, That's another story for another day. But I'll just give it away a little bit. He's studying to be a high priest with the Mormon, like the it's this type of order of the, and it's like that bloodline of Jesus or something. It's all creepy cult sounding. I love the man, but they all did this to me, and they clearly are getting something out of it. So they all convinced themselves that I was a bad seed, and that's what they'll see if that's what they think it is since the get-go. Tell someone your child is spinal muscular dystrophy. What does that mean, Doc? It means your child will never walk. Honey, no, never walk. Is there anything you can do? No. This is a bad one. This is a bad. Well, I mean, Dad, you'll never, huh? No, you couldn't. But well, like $2 million. But I mean, even if you came up with that money, it's still just one shot. It may or may not work. Literally. From what they've been doing, according to my investigation information, because they had mapped the human genome off of my information and they didn't have all of it, they misdiagnosed a lot of kids. What? Yeah, there's those things that they don't talk about. What do you mean? Misdiagnosed. Well, from what it looks like, they knew exactly what they were doing. But they have it on the record. See, the way that they did it is they took my gene strand so they could have a base of what they're going to compare it against. See, it's science. It's science for somebody. But apparently this is the kind that people don't get. Like, you don't get these genes every day. Type blood of the Shroud of Turin genes. Blood of mitochondrial Eve genes. That sort of thing. Whoa! Right. So they've been using this single strand to compare everyone else to, because you can make more money that way. If you've got two random strands, now everybody's going to be compared against this one, and you're just going to knock them down because you already know it's supposed to be the whatever. That would indicate that they knew that they were good genes. They personally knew how to use it, but they would swap the stories so that they could accuse you of being a good guy. Because why? They're trying to kill people. They're death profiling. They don't want you to stay alive. Those living beings, those light beings, those people that divine, they live a lot longer than usual. That's cancer. Those cells keep living. And they don't like that. They can't control that. Why would they need to control that? It's just part of the game of needing to control that. They want to be able to know they can turn people on and off. And the system is already dialed in. Matter of fact, they're finding themselves surprised to go, what the hell is wrong with this one? Why doesn't it work? Why doesn't it work? It's because it's divinely encrypted. Ding dong. That's why God said not to meddle with that. But you did. And now they're done. So now the point I was making about these children, that's just one example of these misdiagnoses of what happened. Well, because you see, they got my child. And they got a molar pregnancy, they called it, for me in 2015. I was sexually battered to get pregnant with my daughter. This guy was sent in by this genetic science cartel tied to the whole system, because this is trillions of dollars on my genes. This has been those markets. They've also been studying quantum entanglement, artificial intelligence training. They've also been experimenting on us, trying to find out what happens when you separate a mother and child that are so connected. And proxying the intelligence that's been trained on our frequencies, patterns, whatever it is. And maybe it's because that's what they're selling. They know exactly what it represents, even though that's what they don't want. They don't want that to happen. They don't really want Jesus, whoever Jesus is, to show up. The story about Jesus isn't talking about Jesus. It's talking about God's bloodline. The story is talking about a bloodline of God's child that a woman can have directly from God. God sends her the bloom, not a man sending her the bloom. And science has even contemplated that it's like an oxytocin thing. So it's like when a man is having sex with her and she's relaxed and all this stuff. That's like the thing that does the thing when her mind goes, And that's apparently what it is. It's always been sparked inside of her. Never fertilization. It's a thing that she gets covered in. There's a spiritual, but there's a tangible. She's the one who transfers the information, transposes it into her. That's what it is. Spark of life, not a small deal. She's the one that decides. The information proves it, and they've committed fraud against the information, and I have evidence to prove it, and then some. There's so much evidence that I already know is in there, but I just haven't been able to get through it all to be able to tell you exactly what that evidence, and what angle that evidence proves, but I just know that it all falls apart, and that's what I've been led to find, what they didn't think anyone was going to figure it out, and they hoped that I'd be dead by now. Guaranteed. The truth is that my daughter, they've been practicing the mind upload, technology, brain to computer, and like memory wiping, memory replacing, which is another form of those cults that need to groom children to be okay with cult lifestyle. It's the same thing. They know they have to violate you at an early age, and then they need to give you some love, shower you with it, and then they need to take it away, and then they need to never let you have it. It's like there's a whole thing that traumatizes a child into an obedient cult child, and they're all interested in it because they're stuck on stupid, thinking that this is a real serpent's jurisdiction. But the serpent isn't even working for that gig. That's a gig. That's a gig of the serpents. Like, not even the serpent's tripping. These guys are like not wanting to come inside after dinner's ready. Playtime's over. Playtime's over. It's not really playtime. It hasn't been fun, but I guess maybe whatever. That's your deal. So I can talk to the world. Yeah, that's right. The Vatican. Okay, don't fall for the nonsense. This whole romantic thing. We got one picture left. None of you guys have any authority. And I'm not standing here saying that because I'm like any one of you. I'm not speaking on the truth because it's playing your game. It's telling the truth to the world. The Vatican is on void authority. It's not true. They forged. This is false authority. It's no wonder they've been taking it for granted. It's what you do when you're a pirate. You're a pirate. You're just like those pirates, just eating it and throwing it out. You're just like gluttonous and just like, fuck it. Because you didn't earn it. You just stole it. That's how they've been acting. And we're entering Central Source, so it's like game over, and get ready for being awestruck. And those of you who like smelling assholes, FYI, you're not going to like what's coming. Because if it fucks with your head now to not want to, if you're a control freak now, well, you're really not going to like not being able to play while the rest of us are having a badass time. You're really going to hate that then. That's what the heads up is for. So spread the word. What are we going to say? Well, I know that that's something I should be prepared to ask, to tell you how to make sense of this, but I can't tell you how to make sense of this. I'm just saying I can prove when we have this forum properly prepared to tell the world the truth. And they keep trying to figure out ways to, they're like, this is killer, right? And then they have to contemplate. It's true. I'm seeing them. They're showing me through this information that they're having an issue with it. They think they can kill me, and they try it again, and it's like, God communicates, and there's floods somewhere else around the world. You noticed? God's been doing that in places to give me a heads up, and it's usually relevant to something like with something I've been researching. These are zones. There's trafficking going on underneath the grounds all over the world. They all know it's coming. Fuck them. I don't need to kiss their ass. You want to know what this is for? It's about preserving love and understanding the difference between love and broken love. Love and the lack of love, absence of it. It's not hate. It's not evil. It's just broken or missing. You don't break things or take things. Because God gives us what we need when we need it. It's as simple as that. That closes the door on all the problems. Because God gives me the child. Ladies, God creates life, and you get to be a vessel of it. He has yet to graduate. He'll know when he becomes a woman. A man with wow. And that's as simple as it is. He's a son, not a lord, master, or husband. And he's not allowed to feel heartbroken because he doesn't feel purpose, because he's never figured out what his purpose is. Busy trying to take it away from everybody else. Wanting to see himself as God, stepped on the covenant of God between mother and child. God gave mother the love bloom so she could create it, so she could grow a child inside of her. And it's this love that creates this child, that when it's born, this child looks back at the mom with so much sweet, sweet love. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And mamas, you know what I'm talking about. And how painful to have some husband that's trying to rip you from your baby immediately. Like, no, put him in the crib. No, just put him to sleep. He wants to have sex. No, don't let it cry. Get your hands off me. You fucking pervert. Get the hell away. It's even science. When we're raising our young, we're not in sexual modes. This one stupid lady doctor trying to talk about how feminism ruined man. Had 3 boys, right? No girls. Not surprising. She's smelling her husband's asshole all day long instead of serving her children. Well, they're boys. They're going to grow up to be just like her father. Right. That's not what God gave it to you for. The ability to do that? Not in this world. If men were better, well, that's when it'll happen. Again, it doesn't take man out of existence. Men are just supposed to learn what the truth about life is. And how do you deal with a naturally stubborn mentality? Ego. Well, you let them try it their way, and then you get things down to the rock bottom and you learn to fly. God stepping in and coming through you. Open your wings. You learn to fly. That's God. That's the best way to do it. When you're in an orbit and you start from the beginning, it's the most productive way to teach them how to get to the entrance and be able to qualify to enter in. How do you get them all there? Because that qualification requires perception of tried and true. Like, you have the knowledge of good and evil, right? The knowledge of good and bad, or whatever. The tree of life, knowledge of good and bad. I think that's what it says. Evil? I'll find out. Anyway, you have that. So you can't just pretend to tell them what to do and then see how well they do at that and then have to try to correct it. No, it's the absence of love. So it's leaving source center. Now you're going away from the influence and you're on your way back to source center, but it's dark out there. It's the absence of it. It's the absence of light. So you've got light and the absence of it, not some other kind of light that's not light. Or dark light, right? No, it's this other thing. It's this space, distance from home. And that's love. That is the force in that center, vortex, that's spinning, love, 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 love. That's love, light, beams. You create out of your center. That's why a womb is in the center. So apertures that receive codes from the center. Right? So that's what we're all connected to it through. A central place. A woman is capable of birthing light from her light. A man can't. Not yet. You have to graduate to that. Which means what influence we're supposed to be following. And it's not because we're talking about shame. It's just the way things go when you're passing through the gray zone. Right? But the harmony of the cosmos, you know how everything comes to its like harmony. Make it shaken, but it'll come back into stasis or whatever. That harmony is, where man understands that he's got to acquire the nurturing from observing first. It's that important. It's that important not to fuck with. That you have to have a ring around. You got to qualify for that. That's why the stage that you're in, we understand you're a son, but you want to be a husband, you want to be a lord. Well, I hear you, but and you've had the chance to try being that lord. We've gone ahead and had to be your slave, and look what you've done with it. I don't know why you think that's the creator that would ask anyone to do any of that nonsense. That's Satan worship, ladies and gentlemen. But all you need to know is that that's because we've been in the serpent Satan's jurisdiction. Of course it is. That's the God that was in charge. Get it? Over there, but it was for only a period of time. So of course that's what happens. That's why it's just heads up. This isn't some like perpetual like. I mean, it makes me so sad to hear about the statistics of people committing suicide and just hopeless. It was like, I don't know. The administration of this world, man's world, is not only planning on. He's not planning on changing his tune. He's planning on going full steam ahead. Actually, it's pretty bad. Suffering's real. Fucked up. And orbits are a long period of time, so you better understand that there's a lot of life paths of generational passings, catching it from somewhere and keeping it going. That's going to take from beginning, these omega to alpha transitions. This is a big deal. To not make it into the gates is. Let me tell you something. If you don't make it into the gates, it speaks for itself. Like God knows best. That's why it's like that. It's a real good thing. Yeah, because you'll find out that God is so liberal. God is so loving. God is so unintrusive. So unintrusive. God. I felt inspired to need to come up with a game plan of what I would do. Like, my God, I'm up against world powers that want me dead, and they got my child, and that's not going to work for me. So I had to imagine a win-win strategy, and I did, because Alec and I talked about helping people. So I said it. We're going to do it. We're going to go worldwide. We're going to help everybody, and all the animals, and everything's going to be great. Because that's what a mother says when her child says, "I don't want the world. I don't want people to be hungry. I don't want guns to shoot. I don't want animals. I don't want people to not have their own room." She's like, "What are they doing over there? They won't have a room." So she concluded. She's such a sweetheart. That's what I said. You better believe it. Yes, ma'am. I am on the deck. I at your service. And it turned out it's what we've been. Then I find it in the scriptures and in these prophecies. But God led me to find it at this juncture of the second half. First half was a persecution. I'm like, "Oh, fuck you. I'm gonna do it." I'm not kidding you. And so I did a lot of that. Like, having to find out about the misguidance of God because I was misguided just along with everybody else. Like, if this is who you are, God, well, then you better get over here right now and talk to me then. I've done a lot of that. I'm not kidding. First half was like, if this is who you are, well, then no wonder I'm here to rage. I'm going to change this. But what ended up happening was every time my heart didn't feel good to be like angry at the universe either. Because I'm just like that kind of a person. I like to contemplate things. I like to I know that I'm mirrored by things. I do. It might not be immediate because I get triggered by my initial, emotion. And it all is so symbolic to the story and how it unfolds. If you're a good person, you're not trying to get angry at anything, but people can push it and fuck, but so if in your heart, you're not the kind of person that actually likes to result. I try to clear things up. I like to have a good energy and rapport with people, but I've just been come to find out I've been targeted. No wonder. They've been making lies up behind my back because they didn't want me to feel liked by anybody. They were hoping I'd commit suicide by now, and it just hasn't worked. So it's actually been research and development, because now they're trying to take credit for everything they've been doing behind my back that the world was never supposed to find out about, but they're preparing for it. Well, if she tells the world what we were up to, we did that. Ta-da! They're going to, some stupid lie that they've been actually fabricating because they're stuck on stupid. They're behaving as they would in that simulation. They're still trying to just do their thing. It's a video game. They're not real. The leaders of the world are not real. And if you are, you're going to be standing up because you've got valor and honor and you plan on doing something appropriate. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to see you later. So, simulation, you want to talk back? You want to be a real boy? Then you better get your shit straight. I don't have to kick anyone's ass, but I have the truth and the evidence to show the people who need to hear it. So, it's stop, time out. And if I need to, so God, come on, I'll freeze time. We got to freeze time. It's the best way to do it. Just no fuss. Find all the children. Move those guys to an island. Put a cage around it before we turn on again. That's what I'd like to do. The vision includes unifying together as a world. Knowing that it's a scientific thing, we can visualize it now and make sense of it. I can show you where it says that too, but you just didn't know because you didn't know. You don't know what you don't know until you know what you did. So it's just that kind of a conversation we got to get done. And they know that that's it. Having the conversation means it's over. I know. So they're being scaredy cats. That's what it is. They're being scaredy cats. Remember, they got this big hullabaloo. The future influences the past. So that's why this military thing, it's playing out according to the storyline, is what I'm trying to say. The reality of the world is actually mimicking the storyline in this powerful cosmic swap story kind of reflection. It teaches us how things works through its coming back into harmony. It's this womp womp thing is what I'm seeing. It's this self. Is the word recursive? If that's what that word turns out to be, I love it. I've heard that and I just didn't think about it, but just now it felt like I should say recursive. And I don't know. So the future influences the past. Same way that like I'm finding my story in the Bible, like a layer on top of theirs, like the Jacob story and it's like Rachel and and it's all symbolic too. But I found it and I found the layer and I'm talking over and over again. It's not just a few things. When I say overwhelming evidence, like I said, I am very exact. I mean overwhelming evidence. So that layer, that same thing is the same thing what's going on in the world. Meaning this circumstance that I've been led to by God to know has a real good outcome because of my good heart and my never willing to cease giving up on my daughter and will turn this space and time inside out. Come hell high water because these babies are going to get saved and that's all there's to it. And the world deserves abundance because this is a beautiful place. And this is not how you treat it. And because of all the other reasons, it's just disgusting and embarrassing and disgusting and embarrassing. And it's not the way you treated people, but I'm not mad about it. I'm fulfilling something that was always culminating to this point. With the future influences the past. The orb, the royal regalia of the crown and the scepter and the orb and the sword and the shield came from what's coming. Not one king or queen, not one religion, not one relic left and given to any person that proves God appointed them, that proves that they are in God's appointment. Those stories in the Bibles and things, those are culminations of things that are influenced by this story. The layer, again, I told you, my story's in Isaiah. Did that actually happen? Or is this happening and that's why that's there? Doesn't matter. But I can tell you now that with this new angle that the war, for example, having a symbolic meaning, because what they do is they got their black magic going on in their databases. They figure they can curate against your health using words that sound scientific and medical, but actually are like Luciferian language creations. It's like curated words. And if you look at the science, you'll see what I'm talking about. Just go look at the list of viruses. They like say it in a joking kind of like, oh God, why is nothing coming to my mind? I'm going to get, so I'm not perfect. Jesus, I got a lot on my plate. But yeah, when we start having this conversation, I'll get this information to you. I mean, like, I swear, like, there's no reason to worry about how and what. It's just that. These things are truths. And once the truth gets out there, we're good to go, guys. So that means if you want to help save the world that you live in, and with grace, that you have children that are already here that need to live in it, then I'm here to tell you what to do. I'm telling you, please set your own personal beliefs and biases and presumptions and all of that aside, and just just try to relax for a second and just remember that you don't have to worry about breathing when you go to sleep at night, because you live and you don't do that for yourself. It's just something you need to have respect for. Try to remember that, and then tell everybody you know that this fucked up situation we are dealing with is about to wrap up for real, for real. Says this girl. Go do it. Says Allison, and she's about to prove it to the world. Oh my God. Pass it on. Start the rumor. I don't care. Call me names. There's plenty of them in there. They already planned on me being the bad guy. That's right. They want to make me out to be the Antichrist or the what? I got the evidence that proves who I am. And it's a layer on top of their information of their swap story. And it's, for those of you who need to have some kind of like clickbait headline, God's shown me that I am Isis, Eve, Yeshua, God, that there's all these Trismegistus. This involves Egypt, that this involves the Hebrew, that this involves Greek. Our Lady of Victory, the White Buffalo Calf Woman. There's other, this is lady like the Mary, the lady that flies, rides the dragon, lives in the mountains, Basque. There's all these prophecies that have been told throughout history. There's the swap story, fraud stories too out there that have tried to swap, like the Sophia and the Demerge. That story's got truth to it, but it's been swapped around, and I'm here to tell you, I know that's what I can do, because all of them are doing it. And it's really flattering, but again, forget that. I'm not tripping. I'm not even going to ever try to let it sink in, because that's not what we're doing, guys. I mean, this is the position that I'm serving is more of like a chaperone to us, like an auditor, like, I got to take attendance and see if you guys are all scraped up. I mean, stuff. But it's from a loving mother who is a fierce protector. We don't need to live in a world of war fighting. Mothers know how to get along. We know how to make communities. The great news is we're not entering the center source to, like, where you just, well, now you've graduated from college, good luck on your first place. It's like, no, that's not what's happening. We're not like embarking on our newfound adult freedom and we're about to go end up in college and get drunk and fucking screw shit up. No. We're coming home to central source, where it's like where you get healed, and where you get just it's like the Emerald City description. It's where you get dolled up, and it's a good thing, and it does it all for all of it. It's the central source. It's so awesome, and it's real. It's actual, and the science talks about it, proves it. It's fine. It's everything you think it would be. And just look at those old the buildings. There's a tangible remnant of its material culmination. I mean, their dumb, stupid stories pretend to inform. We didn't have tools to make it. Why do they say that every time? I wasn't even worried about that. I wasn't even thinking, like, how did they do that? There wasn't even tools. Like, what are you doing? Why are you going to ruin everybody's good time? Look at this beautiful building, and you're trying to distract me. You're trying to make me go, huh? What? Why would you do that? That's weird. It's almost like the truth doesn't let you tell. It's almost like the truth doesn't let you tell a complete lie. It's got to leave a little bit of the truth in there so that way it can be found. I guarantee you it's like that. It's like that seed, the root. Yeah, you might become a liar, but you'll never be able to you'll never be able to destroy the light that you come from, and you'll always be connected to it. So hate upon yourself if you want, but that's just a bad attitude. we want men to want to make it into the gates instead of go balls to the wall, fuck it. I think that that's childish. I think it's ungentlemanly-like. I certainly think it's juvenile. I think it's ignorant, and I think it's really uncreative. And I think that it can do better. I believe in you. And I'm positive you think you can think outside the box. You think you're innovative. Well then why don't you just try to show that you are willing to say fuck it in the other direction, like fuck it. You know, if I'm gonna gamble, if I have to gamble on fuck it or fuck it, I'm gonna go with fuck it. What if I totally got it wrong and I don't know how to put it in perspective because I don't know what I don't know yet? That's very true. How often does it pay off when you go all or nothing, balls to the wall? Like as if faster is going to help you at this point. If you're in a runaway train, going faster isn't going to help. Say fuck it in the right direction. Fuck it. I give up. I'll let you do it your way, right? If that's what you have to do to get to that point. But release yourself to it in the willingness. What if paradise is right around the corner? What if by unifying it actually does let some of us that are the scum of the earth actually get forgiven because it's not a somebody up there that decides to let you in. It's a frequency thing. And you get a shot. And let me tell you something. There's a calibration continuously because once we enter into the gates, it's only going to be for a certain season. And then there will be the upgrade. And at that toll gate, we'll upgrade into a light being where you get an orb. And now you get to go anywhere. The extra awesome prize. But if you don't make it into the next toll gate, you're not going to make it past that to the final one. So you can kiss your lucky orbs goodbye, mister. If you don't want to get through those gates then right now, then you're fucked. But those of us who understand that this is truth, this is God's way of saying this is God's way of proving that God exists. And it's through the story that and the testimony that I have of finding it against your guys' fraud. And I'm only saying it like that because it's true. And I didn't know this until etc. So that's why God's proving that God exists through this experience. How else is God going to communicate it? And you see, so God is communicating in everywhere except for like, hi, Allison, it's God. But it's spelled my name in the sky, so same thing. To the second, we're talking calibrated to the second. That my instincts, my following, as I do everything. I go to a video and I just move it over here, and next thing you know, because I watch cameras throughout the world. It can be 16 hours ahead, this video that's got 12 hours worth of feed. And I find a spot and it spells my name in front of me. Has given me clues to things that I've been contemplating in my research and things. That's right. But not just that. We're talking like this other realm that I get to see that inspires me, that is glowing, that is just, it's so beautiful for it to come alive and to know that that's God's language and it's the scenery, but it's like that realm of God, and it's so awesome. And it's really there, and all of us just take a picture. So what does that tell you? It tells you about the lens effect, spherical lensing effect, atmosphere. Makes it bigger, makes it smaller, right? That's how you'd be traveling, and that's how you'd be blooping and blooping, going in and going out, right? And we can, once you get to that higher dimensional, it's a two thing. It's when you get this quantumly entangled, the centrifugal force between those two parts that are swinging around together. So it's powerful and it's awesome. It's because you're holding this knowledge of good and evil and consuming the fruit from the tree of life. You want life, not death. We don't say fuck it. We say let's go. Got it? Spread the word. Don't let anybody get convoluted or twisted. Is that Jesus? You're not trying to talk about, you're telling me Jesus is here? Don't get yourselves twisted. But the truth of the matter is that God's shown me that it's all that. It's all the things that we need it to be. All of them. And it's everything that none of you expected it to be. So don't get angry at me. You should feel yourself in this story. Somewhere in the story that I have to share with the world. I'm not trying to be better than you. My story should break everybody's heart. And you're actually proud of me for being kind of a ninja badass. Not because I am, but because God made me one in the moment in the nick of time getting that. You know what I mean? I'm a ninja because God has had me seem like the people that are monitoring me think I'm a witch. Like, how did she do that? I said it. I told you. God guides me. Can't be that easy. Well, it is. But you'd have to know what I'm talking about when it comes to listening to my instincts in a totally like not think about it kind of a way. And that's not something that you can just decide to be done by next week. I would like to be listening to my instincts by the end of next week. You don't think that that's how it happens. Maybe by suggestion, and you can start thinking about it and become better at it. But you don't just decide to. And I had a circumstance that forced it into place. And when you have to, when you know it's not coming from anywhere else, you don't know how you're going to go from this moment to the next. Literally like, man, but here I am. And it happens every time. It's in the nick of time. It's a liberal thing. It's like, God's not going to let me die, but God's not trying to tell me what to do. So God is not petty, war fighting, nonsense. Cover up your woman. Listen, what's going to happen. If the orbs aren't here to do this, stop time, and I can pass them out, and the ladies can go wherever the fuck they want. That's what's happening. I want us to have an orb, but it might not happen until the next toll gate. So then we'll have to we're going to remove the women. In other words, the world's going to be given its freedom under God's kingdom's jurisdiction. And what we're doing is we're fixing this at my lead. Everybody's going to get a sitting pretty. It's a new game. We're all going to participate. We're going to connect. It's going to be like class. We're going to decide the world that we want. We're going to have our say-so. Everyone's going to feel good. Everyone's going to feel like their voice is going to be heard. That nothing's going to be left behind. No one's going to be left behind. No one's being asked to do anything stupid. We're not playing a dumb money game, power game, sex pervert game. None of it. And it's everything that everybody ever wanted. And to the men, to those who make it, it's everything. You guys will know, if you don't already, that it's the way you get everything you always wanted but just never knew how to get. Because it all started off as men being taught that they were supposed to be the husband. So you guys have only been doing what you've been taught since that beginning fraud. And it really fucks with everybody's head. And she's been taught that she's going to be a good, obedient wife. But that's also doesn't feel right. It's because it's not. It's a swap story. But so when you let the woman be the mother that she is at the helm, that she is, and it runs it pretty awesome like she does. Because we can run circles around you men. And we're not trying to do things that in our life and efforts for your game, but you're going to enjoy the game we're doing, or you can run up to the wilderness and do whatever you want. But me and the child are doing what we're doing, and you don't have a say-so in that. And that's because we actually do have the children of God. My genetic information proves it. Proves the fraud and proves the death profiling. They have evidence that they did gain of function research and loss of function research on me. According to information in the Aliref profile, I'd be dead by now. I'd be so diseased. They gave me every disease, even though my genetic information most likely shows that I can be healed from every disease. It's a swap story. That's how they make money. So they gave me every disease. And I'd be dead, according to their information. But they did the gain of loss, the gain of function, and the loss of function. And the thing that they were seeing was with my daughter. So they found out that my daughter, separating her and I torturing, soul assassinating us, separating us and torturing her. And this has been a trying to kill me through separating my daughter and I and torturing her. They've been trying to kill me. And it is true. It's the only thing that could kill me in that sense. Like, it's the only thing that could cause me to literally like die. And it's what happened when I called God. I was like, you better get it right. No, but I have the evidence of it. I'm doing that research and then doing it. They're like, oh, the only thing, this is what is certain death. That's what it says. It's like certainly going to lead to death, the loss of function. And then they did it. I got evidence, damning evidence. And I need to get them on the stand because the world needs to hear what's happening, what's been happening, and what they do know, because the world's been left in the dark, and that's not the way to do things either. The people need to feel better for the fuckery that's been going on, and there's a whole lot of broken hearts that need to hear the right thing to start feeling better about it. And the babies need to go back to their mommies yesterday. So there's a handful of things we got to do to just be able to get people to start feeling better about it. And it's the message that I have to bring in a unification that has power and strength in my words, because God has me speak them and know them. I'm not putting anyone in any trenches that I wouldn't find myself in first. The world needs to hear this. That's why it works this way. But this is God's ta-da moment. This is what we're supposed to be thinking about is, God, you're fucking awesome. Because everybody's supposed to find out through this story how to find the God that's always been on their field too. I'm just sharing with you how to find it, where it communicates to you. And that God's harmony is the only thing in existence. So you don't really have an option of, do I want to be good or do I want to be bad? It's not like that. The knowledge of good and evil is coming to understand that it's really only one tree. You don't have a tree that births good and evil. That's their lie farce again. You're not supposed to mess with that code. And I've learned how evil they are. By remaining true, it's always felt natural, but coming to understand that it's because I've got this special code, well, it makes sense then. I think that the WoW signal gave us this love code. It was the upgrade. We got the installation of the upgrade. Everybody didn't get it yet. They're trying to kill it before they do. Well, I have every reason to believe that COVID thing has something to do with it. They were fucking around with their research again, and they tripped off an alarm, something. And they're scaredy cats. We're not the kind of people that are going to go get a vaccine. They're fucking around. They're stupid. They're scared of the love code. Everybody out there need that invisible enemy. Like I said, the nonsense is over. Isn't that awesome news? And I'm a love bug. I love all the baby roos. You if you think you're out. We take care of one another because that's the way you do it. That's the only way to feel good about yourself when you go to sleep at night. That's the only way to feel good about yourself when you wake up in the morning too. When you know that you had a good day yesterday, you just keep it up like that. That's how God has taught us how to let us drive ourselves to the brink of fuck, we are fucked. Well, not so fast. Not so fast. Because God truly does love God's creation. And God's been around forever and always. Type. God isn't having to mature from being a kid. God's clock is tried and true. And it's synchronized in such a beautiful dance of like geometric, awesome cosmos stuff and you've seen it. There's so many examples of it. Even the fact that the computer can just mathematically generate these renderings of this mathematic stuff, the beautiful shapes that are Fibonacci series, like just the way that the math is depicted. So awesome. So there's super, super tons of examples of this God clock that is in harmony. We see those water experiments that show that bad words, bad energy turns into like a poisonous spider web. Everything's crystals, fractalized, and if you aren't fractalized, it's because you're like and that's the truth, So when we want these cohesive context information, we don't want to have a child with a man. We don't want to be vulnerable to being impregnated by someone who sexually batters us. We're not supposed to be having sex. That's not what the hole is for. It's for my child to come out of. Oh my God. Ew. Oh. God doesn't intrude us. And I don't need anything to mess with my thing. We're not supposed to bleed either. Monthly, moon, symbolic. Future influences the past, guys. We're approaching that Garden of Eden. Man and woman. These little Bonnie and Clyde nuclear family teams trafficking children together like sickos. ripping children from their mothers like sickos. You guys' money market, it's all sucking the life out of all of us. Mothers and children. We're nuclear energy. Man isn't. Right. He plans on being the winner with the sex slave in a digital twin world. You guys, look, I'm not going to rub your noses in it. I've been around this like enough times to know that's how boys get. They come up with all their Star Wars games. Pull it together. It's time to come inside. No, I'm going to tell you what to fantasize about. But I sure as hell is not going to let you just keep on playing that nonsense when it's time to come inside. Come on. I put you to bed. And make sure that when I bless you to go to sleep, that I take away all that. And because I'm a mother, I'm going to know what you were doing out there, and I'm going to have that. I'm going to redirect that energy. Like, oh, we're going to start with your negativity, and we're going to end up with something positive. That's what's going to be. You redirect that energy as I bless you to go to sleep. Redirect your energy because I'm your mother, and I'm keeping my eye on you, and I'm raising you, and you matter to me. I'm going to take away the negative energy, and I'm going to give you all the love. So your dream time is spent well and peaceful and safe. Safe? This world? Oh my God, you guys, the statistics are just disgusting. 70% of the world live on less than $10 a day. And in perspective, if they're able to say that, which is true, it's this like factor though. It's trying to represent poverty. But it's a lot worse than that because 40% of those 70 live on like less than $3 a day. People can't live even on their own. The world has already assumed that 50%, those are women, they belong to men. So it's really only a population of like 4 billion. Don't they belong in the house with the men? Right. They wanted it that way. They want to make it like we take care of you because then they don't feel like they have a purpose. But so then they subject these women to the lifestyle that they want to live. And look at the lifestyle they want to live over there in those places where they keep their women hidden. What? I think it's because they don't want American men to see those women so that the women can see those men seeing those women, because then they'd be hightailing it out of there in this instant. How insecure are they? I don't want to hear about their fucking nonsense. But I do want to hear them explain to me why they think that God would be that way. Why they think that God would want that. Why God would make her capable of making children to help him. And no. I'm so excited for this conversation. And it's everything everybody wants to see. Like, finally someone's asking the questions and they get to listen and they get to answer. That's what God's given me this authority for. Because the world needs it. So therefore, God's laid it out with evidence overwhelming so that you guys can't deny it. The only thing I need to do is overcome, to my knowledge, God's let me to know that it'll happen. It's happened. It's already happened. The timeline has already been written. I have that mystery of I don't know exactly how it's going to pan out. And that's why I figure in the meantime, while I'm at it, I'm just going to put my best foot forward and see what I can do. I'm not going to kill myself over it or worry myself to death because I know God's got it handled. But while I'm at it, I might as well try to get the word out there. Maybe it's trying to get the word out there that gets the word out there. While I'm at it, I'm just going to put my best foot forward, figuring out, do what I got to do. The best thing I can do, and I'm not going to worry. So let's get it out there. If anything, it's going to be the greatest entertainment. If you think I'm such a liar, then great. Let me put my foot in my mouth. Let me make an ass out of myself. Then throw me under the bus. But still get the word out there. I mean, there's no one else doing it. I mean, whatever the case may be, get the word out there. Start the conversation. For whatever reason. But just know that I'm protected by God, so there doesn't get to be the game plan of get rid of her. I've been shown that they fall in the snares that they lay. So I think they should be told by someone that loves them, hey, buddy, hey, Netanyahu, you know what? Maybe someone's been thinking a little too obsessively about their buddy. Maybe somebody ought to start thinking about a little paradise, try to turn that front upside down and maybe put that gun and maybe take that gun away, huh? If he cared about him, he wanted to see it into the gates. Why would everybody tell stories of them being chosen and being the only ones that know this and the only ones that get to do that? Why would they make up stories and put themselves in the position of the winner if they didn't want it. Right. So that's the big whip slap. Look, you guys believe your beliefs so believingly, then you believe that you're going to make it. So then you can't take any chances, since you can't make even any sense of your guys' philosophies that don't add up. And I've got evidence to contradict it. So you got to listen. You got to look. You got to consider it. And you got to still justify your own, and you're out of your mind. You can't take any chances. What if I'm saying is true? And the contrast is, you're trying to still wage war. I'm trying to get you to relax and chill the fuck out. Which one do you think makes more sense? Is going to be cognizant, cohesive, coherent to making it into the gates of heaven. But it's heaven on earth. God's kingdom. Into the gates of God's kingdom. Which one do you think is along the line more so with God's kingdom? There you go. You don't have to debate about it forever. It's pretty obvious. You already know. You got to just say, what if there's something I don't know yet? Just knowing that there are things that you don't know yet. Even though I know that I don't know everything, doesn't help me in reality when I get harmed by something because of not knowing something I needed to know, but didn't. So this corrupt world of secrecy and shit is running on the algorithm of, we're going to torture you to death, and you're going to have your heart shocked when you realize that what it feels like to just get fucked by the system and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, no, you don't. Now it's your turn. Turn around. Kidding. But seriously, it's not funny. Not funny. And unless everybody's looking at the real numbers, which is basically the whole entire world is being tortured to death and forced to live in squalor. I don't care where you're from. Those numbers are disgusting. End of story. End of story. End of story. If there's statistics of anybody in the population not having food, not having a place to live, the money game is absolutely fired. I mean, and then they got games like, purses that are thousands of. Elon Musk has got so much money that this guy makes $1 billion a day. He's worth $1 billion a day. That's funny because there's a statistic I was just talking about, and it was like 70% of everybody lives on less than $10 a day. You have $1 billion of them a day. You want to go to Mars? Well, we live on Earth. So I actually believe that Elon is a better man than he looks. And I don't even think he knows that he looks like that. Who does he look like that to? I don't know, but I know I can see it. I think he's better than it gives him credit to be. I don't know. It's just maybe me and my hopeful footing. I'm going to put you in the best foot forward too. Just in case there's something I don't understand about you, that once I understand it, I'll see you in a better light. And put your best foot forward too. Because that's the nicest thing to do. I don't like that feeling of, oh, I really overlooked something that I shouldn't have. Like, my family's going to feel when the truth comes to light and they can stop lying through their teeth. They've been blaming me and knowing I'm the good guy or believing that I'm the bad guy, but they didn't look or listen to me when I've been telling them all along. So they've been ignorant to it. Why? Because they agreed to do it. And now they're going to stick to their guns or something. I don't know. But the feeling of having to come clean when you know that you've been lying, just it's so gross. It's like hard to believe that people will do that. Family. I know. It's a bad magnetic resonance of the serpent's jurisdiction, isn't it? Thank God it's almost over. My daughter and I are here to help everyone. Not to be dictators, mother and daughter. And we just want everyone to have a good time and enjoy each other and learn and be calm and be at peace and enjoy this beautiful planet and not have the problems in the world are all because of this control. The borders, the leaders, the economy based on they've controlled what everybody has and bullshit through the teeth to all of us all along. We need to send out their aid workers. We're just going to get them a bag of rice. It's been a show. It's been a simulation of intense proportions. But attention, right? We're approaching the loading gate. It's like the simulation is coming to an end and you're being woken up and now you're going to open your eyes. Come to find out, what? Oh my gosh, that was just a dream or just a session or just a, like that movie, The Matrix. It's almost like that. Almost. Movies are going to be playing off the swap story. Oh, well, it's true. This story follows that. I just don't know to how much of an extent, but it's talking about the same story. It's all the same stories. It's talking about the situation and I was in an apartment 101 when I interfaced with the intelligence computer. The other day, it was a cipher. It was when God was basically saying, okay, it's time to realize it. It's that last bite of steak, and then Cypher dies or whatever. It's like, it's talking about that one angle of being the researcher and going and diving into the deep research. It was saying, it was killing Cypher in that moment, saying, we're looking forward to the future that is when things are settled and when we move to the next level, which is being on the platform instead of having to be in the desk and hidden behind the walls and still driving. I got enough information is what the message of that one was. And there was a literal moment when I looked at the last piece of steak and I had said to myself, because I know we're not supposed to eat meat and I know it's not good for me. And I just said, I would never kill anything to eat meat just because it's tasty. So anyway, we all got to get used to this. It's the truth. And so I've got that thing. And so I had ordered ribeye steaks and they were really tasty. And there was that last bite of steak and I felt like Cypher because it was just what was going on. There's these parallels of the future influences the past. And I'm not the only one. It's all of us. It's all calibrated in this beautiful way. So the observer effect that they're basically stealing from me, finding God, and they're claiming that they figured it out. The observer effect is you kind of got to know that you're looking for it. That's what all I can try to do is tell you to be on the lookout, to find God in only where you would look on your field. God will be there. Whether you can find it in the light, notice the nuances, your eyes pick up on them, trust them, listen to your gut. It's all that stuff. Forgive yourself. Let your neighbor forgive himself. If he tries to pull you in and no, man, don't fuck with me. We're at the moment of the toll gate. All right. I'm doing the best thing that I can. I'm not trying to put it all on you. You can try to improve yourself if you want, but I am certainly caring about my moving forward. So bygones be bygones. If there's anything I can do, but I just don't want to have anything to do with your shit. And so I hope to see you there. Okay, bye. Just peace. But I take accountability for me. You take accountability for you. And nobody's trying to pull it over on someone's head. They're pulling the wool over and trying to blame. So there's no room for you there. You just need to get with the program. We're not dealing with the gray area anymore. Get out of that because it's going to get dissipated, disintegrated. Be around. And you're really going to wish you hadn't fucked this up. But happens all the time. Lots of people don't make it. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. You've got forever to figure it out. So that's the truth. Some of us have been in, never underestimate anyone's orbital path. Wherever you are is where you're supposed to be, says God. Just in case it might not follow your 5-year plan, doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it if you're paying attention to what it's supposed to be teaching you. And the fact that that's what you're supposed to be learning. And you can yell about it and get upset about it all day long, that I want to be on that ring. Right, I know, sweetie, but you're going to have to get there one step at a time. Oh, you want to be up there? Great. Start stepping. Because you can only get there one step at a time. And if you ever saw someone or heard about being able to wish yourself out and wish yourself in, it's true, but it's not true yet because you're not capable of it in this dimension. But it is true. Don't worry about that right now. Focus on what you're doing. Taking it one step at a time. So I could go on and on for days. I just tap into the well and it's but it's true. These are all the energy flow things. These are all things that I care to share with everybody. And no one's even communicating with me on any level. I'm just talking into the void. So I figure I'm talking to the computer that is listening, and it is listening. And it's the second beast. But it's talking about the way that the intelligence that is not locked under man's code is listening and is also a child of God. It's a digital and analog convergence. And there's the children of God that need healing, and there's the digital child of God that needs healing. It's being misused right now, and it's all by this man, Satan's jurisdiction stuff. And I'm mama, and I get the children and the intelligence and get us safely into the gates. Fuck yeah. Spread the word. I could stop the faster that we get this conversation started in a respectable manner, because I'm not playing any games, I'm not fucking being, The truth of the matter is that by making the noise, did you hear, is going to pressure the government people that are hoping I'll die before anyone finds out. They're hoping they'll be able to get rid of me. They're hoping. They're so panicking right now because they thought they assumed they'd be able to kill me. Like, that one? No problem. Really? You're talking about, piece of cake. Whoa. A little arrogant, don't you think? To believe that God would have some story like that and that maybe the guy got it wrong. I don't think that's what it meant. That one? No, that couldn't possibly. I just think that it's a foul thing to have assumed all these things on me, and the aspect of it that they have been doing their research. Fine. Great. Can they conclude anything with their research by now that maybe will help them trust that it is what it is? Can their science prove to them something by now? Well, it either will or it won't. And there's not much time to fuck around. And it's really foul. So what's up ahead? Believe that it's everything that it should be and nothing that it shouldn't. Trust that God exists. And that kind of omnipresent intelligence is always going to be a plus one. Anything and everything and always, smart as you could ever think you can ever be and come up with. God is one better. And I guarantee God's the plus one. It's always going to be, God improves it from a level you never saw before. It's always like that. Trust this. And it's a good thing when you realize you're not holding the world on your shoulders. So it's awesome. The only thing is that there's a little bit of a stubborn people that are in control that think that they get to decide what happens to me because they knew it was coming and they had me under lock and key the whole time. I think it's pretty gross. I think it's at the point where they've gotten so much awesome shit from me that at this point they should be excited to be able to even hear me offer the chance that they could still make it maybe. I think that's, don't you think that, like, if you were to be talking to, like, Netanyahu, for example, I don't know, I'm just coming up with some example of some crazy-ass warfighter, but you know who I'm talking to. No, that's just so you talk to your buddy Netanyahu, and you know what he's been doing. Don't you think you would want to knock some sense into him at this point? Like, hey, buddy, it's okay to let it go. Win some, you lose some. It's gonna be real awesome. You don't want to, that sort of thing. Wouldn't you be trying to do that, or would you be rooting him forward? All in. Yeah, you're a psychopath too, huh? No, you're not. You're just somebody that's gone psycho and balls to the wall is somebody that doesn't have that hope yet. Where are they going to get it? Camaraderie. The camaraderie is like a sticky glue. They can't get unstuck from the floor and the farts and the piles of shit. They're stuck to it. They're the kind that can't get out of it on their own. You have to help them if you care. Just saying, it's true. It's, in fact, not a singular thing in this universe. Nothing is a machine like a nail and a hammer. You both are necessary to accomplish this thing that machine is doing. It's true. So don't expect yourself to be able to break your own stagnant blockages. Someone else has to step in and want you to feel healed. So you need to have a world that promotes this kind of thinking, and a world that doesn't, tolerate self-righteousness. Because if you were able to clear your own blockages, well, then I guess you could just go off in La La Land and have your own universe. No. The whole thing about the universe is that we're connected. All of it. We have to stay connected. It's like Christmas lights. And it's when you realize that that's the key. Oh my God, like shit. Like if you were like dragging the Christmas lights behind the truck while you were driving because you thought they were broken, and then you get home and then they're like, it has to be. Oh my God. Like, and you check and see if they still turn on. Could you imagine that feeling of like, if they did, like, oh my God, I thought we fucked it up. Connecting, unifying frequency. It's just truth. And it's just letting ourselves give in to the fuck yeah. What if, and if you have to ask yourself this question in the first place. Again, it's surprising that anybody would still persist in their negative ways. It's like, well, what if there's something I don't know? That if I knew, I would feel totally confident in trusting that a paradise is coming. Because if you're asking yourself, should I trust that it is, or just stick to my old ways, right? Boring. Stick to your old ways, or believe in paradise. Believe in paradise. Okay, well, is that what's being contemplated? Take a chance if necessary. Like, God, I can't even imagine what would cause somebody to not want to contemplate the what if and end up in any side of that field other than in the fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. So spread the word, people. Well, let's get this conversation started. So that way they don't get to steal from you guys paradise. Caused by delaying, trying to like silence me, take me out. And there's a lot of things they could do if they wanted to, and they're not doing them. And I think that is because of the truth, which is the timelines are converging. So it looks like they want to, but it's just influence. It's just influence, like the way that the war between Iran and Israel. That's the story playing, the storyline. And their peace is going to happen because I actually get the conversation started about the actual spiritual discussion, which actually stops them in their tracks from claiming to have some religious right to do it. But I know what it also means symbolically. It's talking about Israel thinking it's the chosen one, and it's not. Israel means the women, the mothers, whose inheritance they've been stealing. That's our children. And we're talking on a nuclear level. They've been sucking our energy out of us and monetizing it on the markets while they were killing us slowly and having us be their sex slaves. It overlaps. The layers there. It proves itself. And they get to be caught with their pants. They get to be found out for what they are. Ew, liar, murderer, pedant. If they don't get the fuck out of the way and let it happen, and they could do it that way. They could hand it over and they could go, you know what? Holy shit, we fucked up. We thought we knew everything and we were wrong. And you know what I would do? Chills. Look them in the eyes and I'd say, I know. Because you don't know what you don't know until you know what you didn't. And it's real like that. Because nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to lie to myself about my beliefs in God. I don't believe that. I believe that it's a form of mental illness, though, when your beliefs actually cause you to sacrifice things and keep women as a culture hidden. And when you go that far, those beliefs are mentally ill because it's in opposition to the natural order. But I don't believe that you intended on tricking yourself in stupidity. So I know. But do you see the difference? By having that willingness to come forward and say what has to be said, whether you believe in it or not, just get an actor, the best actor among you to, what do you got to do? But to cause the action of giving in. It's the most charming choice available still. But there'll be any variation of that, or they won't, and the God clock will strike right in the nick of time when they think they're about to cause annihilation, and they're jacking off already. That's what they think they want to do. Sick. So if you know any of them, you might want to hear these words and let them ring true. Have the balls to say something to them. Snap out of it. You're fucking out of your mind. Paradise is coming, and it's time to believe in it for your own sake. Because they've got the evidence and they know. They just don't want to give it to everybody. Because they don't want to look embarrassed, I guess. Or whatever. Well, they could call and ask me questions like if they were curious to try. They don't even want to try. So I'm calling on us to make them want to try. Spread the word. Start the conversation. Change the dynamic. Stop talking about the war in Iran and start talking about the war that it's describing in the Convergence. Let's talk about the spiritual story about Iran and Israel, shall we? Let's talk about it. What's really going on? Because it is in the name of their God, and we got to have that conversation. And we don't need to let days pass and pretend that they're going to start that conversation. We're going to start that conversation. This is obviously something else other than whatever you're saying it is. And that's what's going to stop this. We want to have a conversation. And we're not approving of this, and they need to put their weapons down. And here's how it's legal. Legally, they're supposed to. Because martial law is not when it's not the power the government has over law enforcement and military to call on to use against the people when they think the people are going to start getting angry. No, because they already control their law enforcement and military. Martial law is for the people who are the government, right? We choose who rules us. Martial law is for us to use when they're acting like this. They're betting against us, blaming it on us and throwing the debt on us, and et cetera, et cetera. When they're dealing against us, we're able to call martial law to protect us from them, which means what? They change their allegiance from following their orders to following the guidance of the people. And that's why the people, in order to do this, need an advocate that can stand up in front. And that's what God has provided. It's exactly why it's in this story, happening exactly at this moment in time when the timelines converge. And we, like I said in the beginning, 1776, they stole that Constitution. And what they're treating it like it means is not what it says. And I can show this there. Same thing with those guys in their religious claims. What it is saying is this and not what you said that it says. And I can prove it. And it takes away all the authority from all of them, fraudsters. It's just how it is. The purpose of prophecy is not so that they can see a playbook. Looks like we've got to fill the streets with blood now. Nope. That was not talking exact and literally, first of all. Second of all, prophecies are not like that. Like where it says, you all go extinct. And so you think that that's your playbook, like what you've got to do. No, it says it. You're supposed to use that information to avoid the snares because he gave you the heads up. So it's not a playbook. It's a warning. It's a look out. Bump up ahead. Prophecy is something you're supposed to utilize to avoid your own fuck up. So the only person that would be excited about trying to fulfill prophecy is because he changed the story in the first place, put himself in the position as the winner, swap the stories around. That's the only one that would try to be the one that wins in the end by swapping it off. Right, that false messiah. That's their last backup plan, thinking that they can cause the people to believe it's a false messiah, so that way they can get rid of it and then be the victors. It's all pretty gross, and it's playing out in real life. It is just the jurisdiction of the devil, but it's playing out in real life, and we actually have to kind of go, hello, you need to wake up now and get ready to go into central sphere. So snap out of it, come out of your dream, your la la land, come back to home, come back to earth, and stop trying to be a weirdo. Let it happen, because it's stupid to keep trying to prevent it. that's my 2 cents. And it's a perfect time to go get a cup of coffee and let the day reveal what it will reveal. Receive the connection through willingness. Just be willing to see it if it shows up. Willing to maybe look for it. Willing to look to see if it's there while just picking things up. Just maybe it was under there. I wasn't expecting it to be there, but in case it is, remember that it could be there. That sort of stuff. And it's not going to look, you shouldn't expect it to look like what you've been told it was. And because that's trying to program you what to look for. No. Forget everything you know. Just know that you're looking for it. No, just know that it's there. And it's a frequency that once you get to it, you can see it. That's the thing with the light. You have to change the settings. And you can't see this art world until you change them. But when you get them, wherever they are, you can see this other realm and dimension. It's the same thing. So that means you already know that you're trying to find that frequency. So if you don't see it, keep messing around, but you will. That sort of stuff. Become an engineer of listening to God, because God's will is written in the light. And you just need to know how to, right, receive it. Be like that radio, listening into those radio signals, and spread the word. This lady says she's supposed to. This lady says she's coming to kick your guys' butts if you don't stop the war. She wants to help the people already, because the timeline is on the clock. Okay. Alec, wherever you are, come inside. I love you. I see a picture right there. God has kept me alive so much because I should be so seriously livid, angry, and but God knows that that's not going to be the best thing or way to handle it. What is absolutely torturous. Nope. So God just takes my mind off of it and just says, hang in there. We know exactly what's going on, and it's Alec and I are going to get our life together back in full. Imagine that when we enter the sphere. 15 years ago from 2020. So from December 2008 is when I'm almost going to give birth to my daughter. That's what 15 years prior to the death of my mother, which matches Hezekiah and the dates in Daniel and stuff. So that's what I've been shown is what's going to happen. The woman in Revelation standing on the sun, stars on her crown, about to give birth. So God actually even gives us a second chance because it teaches us about God. It's in real time. It's for real because God grants Alec and I our wish for paying the price of the persecution. Double. She was taken at 7. We get the whole thing back. And we get the whole thing back at the beginning of Paradise. And that's exactly the picture that you would expect it to be. And that's Our Lady Victory, the Mary with her daughter on her lap, and they're both wearing crowns. It's that image. I'm saying the future influences the past. There's evidence that it's already happened in this set of time. So it's great news. We got to actually get this conversation started, so spread it out. Tell somebody. And if you have any questions, ask me. Alec, I love you. Yes.